Frustrating. I can't even put it into words right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary Chris, and for today's video, I will be continuing on my series of my reaction of Democracy Now's newscast for Friday, August 3rd. I will link down below the part 1, and I will also link down below my kind of testing of this type of version of a series on my channel. I will link that down below as well, because that really have inspired me to continue the series. That's why I have the same backdrop and earrings and shirt and everything else, because I just want to have a continuation of it, and because this is part of that series. And if you want more explanation of why I'm doing this, I will link the video down below, just so I can just stop blabbering on and just continue with this series. And by the way, if you see me like right now super energetic, and later on I'm just like a little bit down, because news are usually not happy and I get very empathetic, and so, but I will leave my thoughts at the end, okay? So I just don't want to interrupt while Amy Goodman is reporting.
Remember Me by Fawn Wood, featuring Randy Wood and R. Carlos Nakai. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. We end today's show in North Dakota, where after a 9-month search, the body of Olivia Lone Bear was found Tuesday in a pickup truck submerged in a lake right near her home on the Fort Berthold Reservation. The mother of 5 went missing in late October in Newtown, North Dakota. Her disappearance has sparked renewed attention to the disproportionately high rates of disappearance, rape, and murder of Native American women across the United States, particularly in areas of oil extraction, like North Dakota's Bakken Shale, which is the origin point for the Dakota Access Pipeline. For more, we'll speak with her brother, Matt Lone Bear, who spent the last 9 months searching for his sister. He's joining us by phone from Newtown, North Dakota. And we go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to speak with Mary Catherine Nagel, a citizen of Cherokee Nation, partner at Pipestem Law, a law firm dedicated to the restoration of tribal sovereignty and jurisdiction. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Matt, I want to begin with you. Our condolences to your family on the death of your sister, Olivia Lone Bear. Can you talk about how she was found in this submerged truck right near her home?
As far as what we were told by law enforcement, Williams County, sent some divers in, and they were sent divers down, and then, then I got a text message saying that they're hooking up something, in the water. So then that's when I got there. But as far as getting a debriefing from the police departments or anything like that, we still haven't gotten any word of how exactly everything went down. But
the reaction of your family to the discovery of Olivia's body?
Heartbreak. It's after 9 months of looking, looking on our reservation. That's almost 1 million acres. And then come to find out that, we've been pushing for this water search since November, and lo and behold, she was found within a mile of her home.
What do you mean you were pushing? Who were you pushing to do the search of the lake?
Lead law enforcement was Tribal PD in the beginning, and then in January 2018, BIA took over, pushing with the BIA. And then
the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Yeah, Bureau of Indian Affairs. And then we had the state's office involved.
And they have boats to do this?
What's that?
They have boats to do this?
Yep. And even our own tribal PD's got boats. We have boats available on our reservation, and none of them got on the water.
Why wasn't it done until now? Because when they did it, they found her almost immediately.
And there's so much red tape that went on, right toward the end here, we had Tribal PD and BIA pointing fingers about who's going to do the water search. And, they were chomping at the bit back in January. They said, as soon as the water thaws out, we're going to be on the water. We're going to search the water 100%, which is a lot of water. But then, fast forward 3 months down the road, and they still had no boats on the water. They just, it just became accountability at that point, and I don't think anybody wanted to take accountability for all that water search. So as far as the family goes, we did what we had to do as far as doing a land search, but we don't have resources and or knowledge to do a water search, so we relied on law enforcement agencies to do this. And
do you feel they made the search of your sister Olivia Lone Bear a priority?
No, I don't think they did. Right toward the end too, our BIA agents were it was kind of a revolving door for the last month and a half, 2 months. Agents come in for 7 days and leave, and 2 weeks and leave. You can't learn 7 months, 8 months of a case in 2 weeks' time or a week's time. So it just kind of showed us what kind of priority we were. We were never told if how long they're going to be there or anything like that. So it was just total confusion at the end.
I wanted to bring Mary Catherine Nagel into this conversation. You're a citizen of Cherokee Nation. You're with the Pipestem law firm. Can you talk about the broader issue of missing Indigenous women around the country?
Yes, thank you. And first, I just want to say, Matthew, I'm so sorry for your loss and your family's loss. And I know that this is not the resolution that anyone hoped for. But unfortunately, in Indian country, in some reservations, our women are murdered at rates 10 times the national average. The rates of violence, whether you're talking about just domestic violence or sexual violence, are incredibly high against our Native women, but the rates of murder and the rates at which our women go missing are even higher, and that's been documented by the Department of Justice, United States attorneys, United States senators who are fortunately now starting to propose legislation to deal with the crisis. But it is nothing less than a crisis when you think about the numbers and the percentages at which our women go missing and murdered.
Mary Catherine Nagel, can you address the issue of jurisdiction? Who investigates this?
And you can see here just how problematic it is when our own tribal police don't know whether or not they have jurisdiction. And I can't speak to all of the decisions that were made on the ground here, but I can say that in 1978, the United States Supreme Court stripped our nations of our inherent criminal jurisdiction over anyone who comes onto our lands and commit crimes. So that means that today, when a woman goes missing, if a Native woman goes missing, her tribal government cannot exercise any kind of police jurisdiction over that crime unless the government knows that the perpetrator was Native. And that's because the Supreme Court says we don't have jurisdiction over non-Natives who come onto our lands and kill our women or our children or really any tribal citizen. And depending on the circumstances, unfortunately, the federal legal framework around this has become incredibly complicated. And there have been pieces of jurisdiction that have been restored to tribal nations. For instance, in the 2013 reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act, in that reauthorization, one piece was restored, and that's jurisdiction over domestic violence. So if a non-Indian commits a domestic violence crime, today tribal nations can prosecute that. However, murder was not restored. And so sex trafficking, that's another crime that our women suffer at disproportionate rates. If the perpetrator is believed to be non-Native, or if the tribal police cannot know with any kind of certainty that the perpetrator is Native, under federal law, they likely do not have jurisdiction to even arrest, let alone prosecute these crimes.
And is this a particular issue in areas of extraction, like oil extraction, like we see in the case of Olivia Lone Bear?
It is. And, there's been a lot of research to document and study that. And in fact, even the Department of Justice Office on Violence Against Women recently, they give out federal grant funding from the Violence Against Women Act to different domestic violence programs around the country, Native and non-Native. But in their recent proclamation that they were putting out different grants, they noted the increasingly high rates of violence and sex trafficking and domestic violence in the Bakken in particular, with the increase in oil production, and have allocated millions of extra dollars to DV and sexual assault programs in the Bakken out of a recognition that the rates are becoming extraordinarily high. I know Senator John Tester from Montana and Senator Heidi Heitkamp have both spoken openly about the increased rates of violence in the Bakken area, as well well as former U.S. attorneys. And, you know, it's not that difficult to wrap your brain around when you think about the fact that if you look at the Bakken, for instance, and this is true of any area where you have a rapid increase of extractive industries on tribal lands, because you have a situation where the tribal nation has been stripped of its jurisdiction. And for instance, in the Bakken, from 2009 till now, there have been more than 100,000 new workers who previously did not live in North Dakota or in the Bakken who have come to that region just to work in the man camps. And with them, they bring increased rates of crime, and one of them is domestic violence and sexual assault. And so it certainly overwhelms the law enforcement on the ground, but when you compact that with the fact that often our tribal nations are without jurisdiction based on the identity of the perpetrator, it really creates a crisis.
Mary Catherine Nagel and Matt Lone Bear, again, our condolences on the finding the body of Olivia Lone Bear. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, guys, so that was a quick segment of
This is Democracy Now!
Olivia Lone Bear. Her body was found in North Dakota, and it took them such a long time to find, not to find her body, because when they actually did the proper search, they were able to find her body. But just to lobby the people in charge who need to be looking for her body, and they didn't, and that they have a lot more crime in that area ever since they've been extracting oil. And this is the reason why, or, you know, this shows like the manifestation of how all of the injustices that we have are intersectional. Environmental injustice of not respecting our planet can also in turn, you know, not respecting the women or peoples who live in that area. It's so frustrating. I can't even put it into words right now. Not only have the indigenous peoples have their land been stolen, now they also have to face this violence, more violence of their peoples, their women, and add insult to injury, nobody even cares. Like, they didn't even like, oh, okay, we have to wait. Like, hello, someone's missing. You don't wait. You find a way. And this is the reason why I like watching Democracy Now! Because I was completely ignorant to the plight of the indigenous peoples. Completely ignorant. And it also has, that's why I have this series on my channel, the Brown Skin White Minds, which I will be continuing, because it's like, okay, if this happens to the indigenous peoples, like, what else happened? How about to the indigenous peoples of the Philippines? And that's why I absolutely love this show. It has educated me so much, you know. Anyways, I think that's it for now. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the rest of the look, but anyways, this is just a reaction while I'm filming. And yeah, I might do a continuation. I'm not sure. I'm not totally sure yet. We will see. But if I don't see you, please subscribe and press that like button and comment down below. What other concerns do you have on how Indigenous peoples of North America are being treated? Like here with Justin Trudeau, where he promised the Indigenous people who went to their TP, and it was just all words. It's like, okay, I'm gonna help you take care of the environment. I'm paraphrasing. And guess what? He's building a pipeline right now. No one can really be trusted. Anyways, guys, I will see you in my next video. Bye!